Welcome to Live on Purpose Radio with Dr. Paul Jenkins, where you will hear inspiring stories of ordinary people doing extraordinary things. Feed your mind with a regular dose of positive energy and show up for your life every day on purpose. Living on purpose means that you have a purpose and you do it intentionally. And now, here's your host, Dr. Paul. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Live on Purpose Radio. This is Dr. Paul, the shrink who expands your life, bringing you another episode of Live on Purpose Radio. I'm excited to be here today with a brand new friend. This is Will Terry. Say hello, Will.
Hi there.
I'm glad to have you here with me today.
I'm glad to be here.
You and I have known each other for a long time.
Probably about, 5 minutes?
5, 10, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, we're just getting to know each other, folks, and I want to give you a little example of how some neat things happen here at Live on Purpose Radio. I had a listener send me an email, and this listener happens to be someone who knows you, Will, and he had been listening to several episodes of the show and felt like you would be a good fit. And so I contacted you by email, and I'm going to use your return email to me as kind of an introduction.
Okay.
Is that okay? And that'll
Sure.
give us some things that we can start with. As you responded to me, you said, well, this sounds really interesting. You've never done a podcast before.
No,
True?
never.
Okay. And some of you listeners can maybe just put yourself in Will's position. If Dr. Paul were to just send you an email out of the blue and say, hey, come be on the show, you might think, well, how does that work? And that's kind of where you were with it, right?
Okay. First, when I first got the email, I wondered if James was pranking me or something.
Yeah, and maybe he was, but what a fun prank.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's what you wrote, Will, and I'll just share this with you listeners so that you'll get a little bit of a take on where we're going with this. Will, you wrote, through adversity in the past 5 years, I've learned more about myself than I ever thought I would. My wife and son both contracted an autoimmune disease, and after she lost her job due to the illness, I had the extra burden of replacing her income while maintaining mine. Sometimes fear is a good thing. I'm having the time of my life helping others while working on my passion, and we're going to follow up on that for sure. So it's been the hardest 5 years, the most interesting 5 years, the most fun 5 years, and the most rewarding 5 years.
That is correct.
That's quite an introduction,
Yeah.
Will. So tell us a little bit about this story. Where does it begin for you?
Well, we were living in California near the Fresno area, and everything was going along fine. You know, you think you got it nailed. Your life is just, everything that you pretty much expected. It's kind of on autopilot. Wife was teaching school. Kids are in sports and doing good, and we're going to the beach on weekends and different things like that, and then
Just everything clicking.
yeah, and it's a long story, and so without really getting into all the details, basically my wife came down with an autoimmune disease, which is a lot like rheumatoid arthritis. It's called ankylosing spondylitis,
Whoa.
which is a mouthful.
Yeah.
But it basically what happens is it's not life-threatening, but it tries to calcify in between the joints of the spine, and so it's very painful, and it takes a lot of medications and doctor visits and all that good stuff. At the same time, my oldest son was working towards making the varsity football team, and this is a kid who, every single sport imaginable: snowboarding, mountain biking, wrestling, track, football, soccer, jumping off of roofs into swimming pools. We're trying to get him not to do everything, and he was the kind of kid that had to do everything. And when we moved out to California, he really had a hard time getting into sports, especially football, or organized sports, I should say, because he just didn't come from that culture. When we moved out there, it was a football town, so he worked amazingly hard to overcome how far behind he was from everybody else. And right at the time that he made that football team, he was coming down with this disease too. And he would come home crying from practice going, what is wrong with me?
Oh, wow.
And so I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with my wife. We're going, and they do every single test in the book when you go to the doctor, they send you. I mean, for a year we bounced all over Fresno, going to this specialist and that. But anyway, long story short, it basically took their lives away. My wife was a runner. We played racquetball together. We mountain biked. We were very active. We can't do any of that anymore
because of her health condition.
Because of her health
so
condition.
you said it's not life-threatening, but it's
right.
lifestyle-threatening.
It is lifestyle-threatening.
And it changes everything.
It changes everything. And then, so long story short, we decided to move back here. She's from here. I'm from Maryland. Mm-hmm. And we met out here in Utah. And
I was going to clarify, here meaning in Utah. We've got listeners all over the world.
I'm sure, yeah. So from California back to Utah to be closer to her mom and dad, to kind of get that network going again. And so we moved back and tried to settle into our lives again. And I didn't realize it, but my career as an illustrator was kind of stagnating without me even knowing it. You know, if you're not moving forward, you really are moving down, but you think you're going straight ahead, you know.
Okay, so this is a piece we didn't even mention yet. You're an illustrator.
I'm a children's book illustrator.
This is what you do. You've got a unique ability to create images and graphics and illustrations
I do.
that help to tell stories.
That's what I do. And it's extremely rewarding. It's the funnest job ever. It's what I would be doing if I was independently wealthy. So I mean I'm already living the dream. It's already I pinch myself
it's
that
your
I get
passion.
to do that. Yeah.
This is okay.
But at the same time, so we're going through this hardship, and my wife was trying to teach school for a few years here when we moved back, but it just got to the point where she absolutely couldn't. She had to quit. So we lost that income. There goes the health insurance with it.
Oh, wow.
And so it just threw us into this tailspin financially because, we're constantly at the doctors.
Sure.
And so that was a big challenge. And so I can just keep running because is that all right? I don't want to dominate what you're...
Yeah, well, as you're sharing this story, I'm getting that as you go through life, and how many of us can relate to this? As you go through life, you have everything planned out, and it's clicking along, and it's just as you wanted it, and then boom.
Yeah.
Something happens.
It was like a bomb went off in our lives, and so... And keep in mind they feel horrible for the fact that it enters in so many levels that you would never really think of unless you're going through it. And I'm sure a lot of your listeners are going through something like this right now. But I mean, even so, we spend all this time going to doctors. Well, now the oldest son and the wife are starting to feel guilty that they're taking resources and time away from the younger two kids.
Oh, okay.
So they're being helped, but they're feeling worse emotionally because they're feeling like they're, my wife feels
almost like the guilt kind of thing.
Exactly.
That kicks in.
And my wife feels like she can't be a good mom. My son feels like he can't be a good older brother. Mm-hmm. So there's that dynamic. And then there's the dynamic of, watching them go through the, woe is me kind of a thing.
Which is really common.
Yeah, because it's like, and this kid was an Adonis physically, I mean, his physique was amazing. And then it just kind of just eroded away,
Wow.
Anyway, so I'm going through that. I'm watching my family go through that. We're trying to adjust. We're making good adjustments,
Mm-hmm.
We live in a great country for that. We have access.
There's
to
a lot
medicine.
of resources.
Yeah, there is. And
sure.
So I don't want to put it across that I'm, down in the dumps, but you try to put your, pick up your chin and just move forward, but you're constantly being reminded of the things that you can't have anymore, the things that have changed, the struggles. And I would say financially, that's probably been the biggest concern, the biggest stressor in my life and in my wife's, because you're always worried about what if. And one of the things that they worry about is life worth living if we can't get medicine? It just becomes this huge emotional thing. And so there's times where you can talk about it, other times where you can't. Anyway, it changed everything. And about, I would say, 3 years ago, probably 2008 or 9, somewhere in there. I was driving in the car, and I had heard on the radio a woman, and I don't even remember her name, but she was talking about a book, and you might know about this woman. She was talking about a book that she wrote, and her basic message was, she's saying, I don't care who you are, everybody has something that they do that they could monetize and make money from that they're not doing currently. You know, that they're... Do you know who I'm talking about, by the way?
Well, you know what? I talked to so many people who have that kind of an opinion. Do you remember who it was?
I don't.
Okay,
I'm sorry.
if we figure it out, we'll post it on the blog.
Yeah, there you
but continue your story.
Anyway, so she's saying this, and I'm kind of getting mad because at this time I was teaching at UVU, which I still do right now. I teach illustration and painting at UVU here in Utah, Utah Valley University.
So this thing that you love to do, you're teaching other people to do as well.
Yeah, I'm already teaching and loving it, by the way.
Sure.
And as a kind of a side note, the teaching has given me way more than I ever thought it would. I had taught at BYU for a few semesters back when I had no idea what I was doing and probably didn't belong there teaching, because I still had so much to learn and still do. But I would say that, and I've blogged about this, that the teaching has given me probably just as much as it's given any of my students, because I steal from them. I learn from them. You know what I mean? And they don't realize it, but because they have a totally different perspective than I do, and a fresh perspective.
Sure.
In a lot of ways, I look at what they're doing and I go, I never thought about that, because you get closed-minded over time. You start to just go, well, this is the way I do things.
You get kind of locked into that.
You get locked in and you get comfortable, and then you see them doing something different, and you have to go. You either have to dismiss it, or you have to say, that's kind of neat,
Yes.
Yeah, so I've gotten way more. So anyway, I was teaching. Here I am spending time teaching. I'm illustrating children's books, and my time is just slammed. Sometimes I have to turn down work, freelance work.
Just because you're so busy.
Yeah. And I'm thinking to this woman that's on the radio, I'm going, there is nothing that I can do right now to bring in any more money. You're on drugs, I mean, you're talking to some other guy, but you're not talking to me. Right. But it bugged me, and I thought about it for about a week, and I was thinking, and the thought just kind of popped in, and also I have to give James Hoops credit for this too, because
he is the listener, by the way,
who
referred you to me,
and he said I had been making these speed painting videos. I don't know if you've ever seen those on YouTube where someone speeds up their process.
Oh, yeah.
So I was fooling around with some of those and putting them up on my blog just for fun, because I like to edit video as well. And I put some of those up there, and James, I guess he had seen enough of them, and about the third or fourth one, he said, Will, it's awesome that you make these videos, but we can't learn anything from them. They go too fast. It would be really, it's kind of frustrating, because it would be neat if you just basically made a video tutorial and showed us what you're doing.
Oh.
And so that thought kind of popped in my head at the same time that this woman was saying, well, there's something else you could do. Doing. Sure. Yeah. And so I thought, I wonder if I could actually make a video tutorial. I never thought about that. I mean, it just never popped in my mind. So anyway, as fate would have it, I had a brother-in-law living with me at the time who was a computer programmer. And I said, and his name was Tom, and I said, hey, Tom, what do you think about putting a video on my site and charging a little bit so that I can recoup my time and then hopefully make a little bit of profit, I mean, to basically do something that will help other people, but at the same time will help us. And he said, well, that shouldn't be that hard, And so then I was like, oh, now I don't have an excuse at all, because you have a programmer here.
You just removed some of the barriers.
Yeah, and it's like, well, and my wife's like, well, you already know how to edit video, so it shouldn't be that hard. So now it was like, okay, now I just have to find a block of time. So I did, and we put a video up, and it started selling and selling and selling, and we were just blown away.
This surprised you.
Oh, it was amazing. I'm not gonna. I didn't make $1 million overnight.
No, man, it took you a whole week.
You're right.
You know what? But I want to observe something here. Here's something that was not that hard. When it came right down to it, it wasn't that hard
Right.
for you because you have this skill and this passion and you do this. I mean,
Right.
this is what you do. And you encountered an idea about how to do what you do for more people.
Yeah.
Once you get to the internet, people you don't even know could be tutored by you through this video tutorial that you put up.
Exactly. And the story doesn't end there. So then there was like, okay, well, I did the first video was on how to illustrate children's books, because I thought, well, that's probably what I know better than anything else.
That's your bread and butter.
Yeah, so I'll do that one. And then people were saying, okay, that's great, but now how do we paint like you do on the computer? So I thought, well, that's an obvious thing. And it just went from there. And then I talking to Brent, I can tell we've got some bumper music coming in here.
Well, we're going to continue this story in just a few minutes. We'll be right back.
I'll always have a gig, 'cause I'll be big. I'll have parties with friends, places to go. The only problem
Thank you for joining me for the Live on Purpose Radio podcast. It is truly an honor to be a part of your prosperity team. Please visit the website, drpaul.org, where you will be able to sign up for Empower, a quick, inspiring message that will be sent right to your inbox several times a month. Click on the blog link to share your comments and be part of the discussion. You can also pick up powerful information products and stay in touch with upcoming events, all to assist you in creating and living a life that you love. Share Live on Purpose Radio with someone in your life today, and thanks for listening.
This is Kirk Weasler to tell you about morebetterbooks.com. Morebetterbooks.com is where you can find more better books for a more better life. Not only that, let me tell you about some of the very fun and cool select titles on morebetterbooks.com. You'll want to get a copy of The Dog Poop Initiative. This best-smelling book could change your life forever. It's certainly changed the lives of thousands of Boeing employees, as well as school teachers, parents, leaders across the United States and in Israel and in Germany. And you can get your own copy at morebetterbooks.com. Whoa, that's not all. What about The Cookie Thief? This classic tale told in a rhyming format, fully illustrated with very fun hidden messages. Pick up a copy now today on morebetterbooks.com. Other great titles there: Finding Your Pathway to Mastery, Beyond Illusions, Make It Great. These titles are only available on morebetterbooks.com. Go to morebetterbooks.com today and begin to have a more better life and live that life on purpose.
Success in any endeavor does not happen by accident. Rather, it's the result of deliberate decisions, conscious effort, and immense persistence, all directed at specific goals. Gary Ryan Blair.
Okay, Will, so I've noticed something.
What's that?
You're a storyteller, man. Which is great because we get to illustrate principles in life through these stories that occur in our lives. So you're telling this story about a normal, ordinary family, just minding their own business. Boom, a bomb goes off, throws their whole world upside down. Now, at that point, you had a choice. You can just kind of curl up in the corner and do your little victim dance.
Yeah.
Or you can ask yourself, okay, well, what can I do with this? What can I do about this? And you kind of naturally go that way. That I can tell that's your personality, is to take, or maybe there's been a change. I don't know.
No, I've always been, I think that to back up just even a little further, I had to be a fighter a little bit because, and I don't want to go down this road too far, but I did horrible in public school. And I had a sister, an older sister that excelled. And, for the longest time, I thought there was something wrong with me. My parents had me tested, all sorts of things like that. And then, and it was through art where I really found that, I do have something to offer the world. There are other intelligences. The public education system is only mining for one type, left brain type things. We're eliminating right brain kids. When I got the bigger picture, it was like, I can totally take the world by the horns, and
when you realize that you really do have something to offer.
Yeah.
And the thing that you love is actually something that other people are going to value. Mm-hmm. That's a good day.
It really
when
is.
You realize that, isn't it?
It really is. And I think all of us are insecure to some extent. I mean, I think we all walk around with those voices that, and sometimes they say good things about us, and sometimes they say bad things. And I think we tend to listen more to the negative side.
Why is that?
I think that's just the way that we're all built, and I think we need just a few things to happen in our lives where we get either some really good positive feedback, or where we excel or have a success or something that becomes kind of a tipping point. Mm-hmm. And for me, I had a lot of signs along the way. I had a lot of things going on. What I didn't realize is that my career was kind of stagnating when we were living in Fresno. And I had kind of, without even realizing it, kind of lost my passion in a way. I mean, I still loved illustrating, but I had basically gone on autopilot as far as my career went. And as far as helping others, it was becoming non-existent in a way, because I really wasn't, I was just doing my own thing, and I was helping my family. So, that's what we're supposed to do, is help our families. But I really wasn't helping anybody else with my career. And I feel like, children's books are great. And of course they help kids learn to read. But I never really felt like I'm saving the world with my children's books. You know what I mean?
Right. Sure.
And so I never really got the idea that I really could help people more until I started doing these videos. And the feedback that I've gotten, I think that I think there's a real difference when you do something to make money versus doing something because you love it, and doing something because there are other like-minded people that will find value in what you're doing. And so I put my heart and soul. The videos are not perfect, but they're good. I feel, and I'm very proud of them. And the feedback that I've gotten has been amazing. And whenever I get emails from people saying, this changed my life, or you don't realize how much you've given
made a huge difference.
Oh, and they go on, and I'm saving them, and I don't know why, but it's like, it's just too good.
That's great, Will.
It's too good to not to have those. And sometime I feel like I'll remind my wife and my kids, look, I'm not that bad. Read some of these.
Save it just in case. Well, okay, so this bomb going off in your family was probably the best thing that could have happened for your career.
In some ways, I would say it's definitely brought our family closer together. It's definitely helped me reignite my drive and my ambition.
Well, you took it up a notch.
I did, and it really has become what's kind of crazy is I've started blogging more. I put more things on my blog to help other people, because I really believe that in order to help yourself, you really do need to look to help others first. And I really do feel like it will all come back to you in some form or another, and it's probably not going to come back in the way that you plan or want. Another thing that I started doing was ebooks, children's ebooks on my own, and publishing those on my own and putting them out. And I started writing a lot about how to do that, tutorials, my opinions on how to be successful doing that. And through that, I've now been asked to speak at 3 different conferences, and the Ringling College of Design is going to fly me back to Florida to speak there.
Wow!
Next month, and
fantastic.
it's like all these doors and opportunities have started opening up once I embrace the idea of helping others. It's just, I mean, it's like you hear that, but you don't necessarily understand it.
You almost just kind of glossed over this principle, but this is huge, Will. As you realized, you know what, if I'm out there just trying to find a way to make some money, I don't know, it's like it creates it creates the wrong energy.
It does.
And people can tell that you're after their money.
It does.
And then they want to defend themselves from it. But if
Yeah.
you're showing up to create value for them, if you really want to improve their life and to serve them and to provide something for them that they don't get unless you offer it,
Yeah.
that's a whole different ballgame, and the money comes.
And let me offer this too, and I don't want this to come across the wrong way, but I almost think there needs to be an element of selfishness thrown in there.
How so?
And in that way, I mean, when you're doing what it is that you do, you almost have to be selfish to the point where you do it for you first. And I'm talking about my art in this sense, but doing my art the way that I want to. If I back up just a little bit, there's always this debate going on in art colleges. Should the fine artists against the illustrators, or graphic designers against fine artists? And one is saying, well, you're selling out. The fine artists are saying you're selling out to the illustrators, and the illustrators are saying, yeah, but you're not going to make any money. And there's this constant battle. And when I was in school, of course, going through the illustration track, I bought into that. Of course, we're doing this for money. It's all about the money.
Mm-hmm.
And
how you can make a living.
Yeah, but the longer that I've gone, I've realized that those fine artists had something to their argument, and that is that when you do something, and when you make compromises with your art or with something that you're passionate about, because you're trying to satisfy someone else, it doesn't always work out.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why I'm throwing that out there. I think as soon as I realized that and I started doing my art to satisfy me, I did better art. It was more, it spoke to more people. And that way, when I started doing the videos, I was doing videos teaching what I wanted to, not what I thought someone else would want. So, anyway.
You know what? This is a little bit of a controversial topic.
Mm-hmm.
But when you think about it, taking care of yourself puts you in a position that you can truly serve others.
Yeah.
Because you can't otherwise. And even a very simple example of that, if you're out here driving on the freeway,
mm-hmm.
you are counting on the fact that everyone else out there is self-interested.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they're willing to stay in their lane and to keep going the right direction.
Right.
Why? Because they're saving their own skin.
Right.
They don't even know you. But it sure does benefit you if those people take care of themselves.
Right.
And in a similar way, I think in our career choices or the things that we choose to do to create value for other people, if it's not something that we love, it won't sustain itself.
That's right.
It's something that you'll have to constantly just kick yourself in the tail to get going and go do it.
Yeah.
As opposed, I get a sense for you that illustration is not that way for you, that you're able to just to do it because you love it, because it lights you up, because that's something you get fired up about.
Yeah. And so I do what I want artistically for the most part. I mean, I satisfy clients. I work for publishers like Random House and
Mm-hmm.
Simon Schuster and Scholastic and those
Mm-hmm.
guys and Albert Whitman. And I have to satisfy them and I have to do what they want. Luckily, in the children's book industry, there's a lot of freedom, so I can pretty much almost do exactly what I want with a few
What you
tweaks.
want will probably please them.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
But when it comes to teaching, that's when I really try to help others and say, okay, what do you need? How can I help you understand what I think you need to understand in order to take a step forward?
Sure.
You know?
Sure. Well, there's an interesting sub-theme here, and it's something that has come up at Live on Purpose Radio a number of times, that you do what you love for the people who love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't go out there and please everybody. I'm guessing not everybody likes Will Terry illustration, right?
You know, and I've always said, if I could just get 1% of the people out there to love me, to love what I do,
Of all the
I'd be-
people?
yeah,
Wow.
I'd be a success. So yeah, I mean, that's another reason why you should be selfish, really, with your art, because you know, or whatever it is that you do to please yourself, because you can't. If you try to please everybody else, you'll fail, and then you won't satisfy yourself either.
Well, that's the quickest route to failure.
Yeah.
In fact, I think I heard Bill Cosby saying this once, where he said, "I don't know the secret to success, but I know that the secret to failure is trying to please everybody."
Yep, that's true.
That is a certain recipe
Yeah.
for disaster. And as you do this, as you do what you love for the people who love what you do, there is a compensation there, because they don't want you to quit doing that.
Right.
They want you to continue to be able to illustrate, in your case, and to do it in a way that creates value for other people.
Yeah.
So there's an exchange and a compensation there. I had another guest on my show, Will, who said it this way. She said, the very best way to get what you want is to help other people get what they want.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it works. And that's one thing that I've realized more and more as we've been going down this road, and we formed a company to sell other people's videos as well. You know, we're selective because we really want to make sure that we're only offering really good videos and good instruction, you know.
Yeah, again, it has to be true to your tastes.
Right. And I realize there's no way I cannot satisfy you know, what a student in art would want in every discipline. So we're looking to fill those niches with other people.
And you wouldn't want to.
No.
There are some people who are seeking things that you have no interest in.
Right, exactly.
Or that you might even be morally opposed to.
Right.
There are some things like that show up. So
Right.
you can't get in that trap of pleasing everybody.
Yeah.
Or if you do, it is truly a trap.
Oh, absolutely.
So, Will, we've got a couple of minutes left. I want to make sure people understand that things are going better for you now. And that is because you have chosen to be true to yourself, to focus on those gifts and talents that you have, and to start offering them at a higher level.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I've never been one that's really enjoyed tooting my own horn, so it's kind of awkward to say, "Oh, my life is doing amazing right now." You know,
well, it is though.
It is, and in so many ways, we have found an equilibrium as far as the diseases go. You know, we kind of know how to handle it. It's become more normal in our life. But besides that, there's a lot more hope for the future because of the fact that, you know, I was able to make some of those twists and turns. And my kids are doing well, and we don't have time to go into that. But I mean, just all
what a
sorts of
rich
things.
experience, though. And I think you said it well in your email to me, that this last 5 years has been, well, pick an adjective. Almost anyone would do, but what a rich experience it's been.
It has. It's amazing, surprising, rewarding, all the above there.
So in the few seconds we have left, I want to make sure our listeners have a way to get back to you. We'll put a link on our blog site that links back to yours, and that is Will Terry, WILLTERRY .blogspot.com.
That's right.
Is that the best place to find you?
That is, or just willterry.com, and the blog's on there.
Or willterry.com.
Yeah.
Okay, so and there they'll see some examples of your illustrations. They'll see what some of your work is. They can get connected to what you're doing with the videos, all of that stuff.
Everything's there. Yep.
Perfect. And you're sharing your experience.
I am, and it's been really, I mean, it's just, I'm having the time of my life. I really am.
That's fantastic.
It's been great. And so that's why you see a smile on my face.
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Will, thank you so much for joining me here at Live on Purpose Radio today.
Thanks for having me.
I want to give you the last word. What would you summarize for our listeners today as kind of a parting thought today?
Oh man, you're going to put me on the spot. I would say follow your dreams, and I know that sounds corny, but that really has been what I've done in my life, and I constantly run into people who are saying, I'm quitting my job here and I'm going to go for it. because they've gone the other route and they've realized that there's more to life than just doing what you're supposed to do necessarily. So I don't know if that's
well said. Everybody go out there and live on purpose.